Good evening and welcome to KSC TV News. I'm Abigail Vasas.
And I'm Weld. Thank you for tuning in this evening.
Some faculty at KSC have been adopting a new kind of teaching method. It's called open education. I went to one class using open education to find out what it is and how it can change the classroom. Here in the Mason Library, some faculty have introduced the idea of open education. In classrooms like this, students and professors are collaborating in classroom experiences. That collaboration is at the heart of open education.
I think it starts really from day one, where we try to encourage the class to generate the norms, how systems will operate within the duration of the course.
Jen Ditkoff and Patrick Hickey co-teach a class in the library called Participatory Cultures. In that course, students learn how to use collective knowledge, foster their own creativity, and offer their own creations. Their creations can be viewed not only by their peers, but by a network of others as well. Students interact creatively to encourage innovation and develop openness and trust. Collaboration and working in groups is the norm here. Like this exercise where students connect circles to illustrate how our creative minds work differently. Students also perform improvised skits and stories. The professors say it's a new type of class not confined by classroom walls.
We have students blog so that their work is out there in the open for a larger audience than just Patrick and I. And hopefully that would open up to communities beyond the classroom.
Something is also different in open education: students as teachers. As they move through the core concepts of the course, students get to focus in on what they find interesting and create an educational experience for themselves and their fellow classmates. Along the way, professors say they are learning along with their students.
And it's sort of taking teaching from this closed, I know all the answers and I'm going to deliver them to the student, and sort of saying, this is why we're doing this is why we're thinking this way.
You can take Jen and Patrick's class, II Info 320, every spring here at the Mason Library. Abby Vasas, KSC TV. Open education also encourages the use of free, open-source class materials. That's something that can save students hundreds of dollars on textbooks.
Keene State's newest residence hall is winning awards. The American Institute of Architects has given the Living Learning Commons its Excellence in Architecture Design Award. Recently, I went to the LLC to find out what's so special about this new building. The Living Learning Commons is unlike any other residence hall on campus. It has the latest amenities, including commons areas, a kitchen area, energy-saving systems, and a classroom on the first floor. But it's how the building design allows students to build community that is the most unique feature. Students here are grouped into communities around their major or program. They live here and take classes here with their peers, and it makes a difference.
I definitely do think it's beneficial. My roommate had a few classes down here, and he always talked about how nice it was. Like, sometimes if he overslept, it wouldn't be too much of an issue because he could just roll out of bed, grab his backpack, and make it to class in like 30 seconds.
Honors program students also live here. Honors student Alex Sauerman wasn't excited about the idea at first, but she has since seen the benefits.
The requirement was to live in the LLC with the other honors program students, and I was actually kind of upset about that. I liked the idea of living in an old dorm because I thought it had character, but ultimately I'm happy with the choice.
The LLC is one of the more scenic buildings on campus, and hopefully we'll be able to attract new, bright young students to KSC. I'm Weld, KSC TV News.
You can find out more about the Living Learning Commons through KSC's Residential Life Office. UNH student and Lebanon resident Alexander Morrill left for Atlanta, Georgia on Thursday, where he'll be hiking the Appalachian Trail. The Keene Sentinel reports on the beginning of his great adventure. Morrill graduated from Lebanon High School in 2012 and earned a partial football scholarship to the University of New Hampshire. Morrill was given a full scholarship for his senior year, but was unable to play due to hip surgery as a result of a preseason injury. Morrill realized that now is the best time to travel before committing to a long-term job. Ice storms are going to be a bigger problem in New Hampshire in the future. That was the focus of this meeting recently on campus. National Forest Service scientist Lindsay Rostad told this group how ice storms will become more frequent in the area as climate change continues. Rostad says we should expect more minor storms on an annual basis, and more major storms will become more frequent as well.
This week, Starbucks decided to extend its already set goal of hiring 10,000 refugees worldwide. The Keene Sentinel reports that over the next 5 years, Starbucks plans on opening 12,000 new stores across the world and thus creating 240,000 available jobs, nearly a third of which are in the U.S. They've also extended their target hiring pool to include 25,000 veterans and military spouses by 2025. Starbucks has already hired 40,000 young people who are neither employed or in school, and they've extended their goal in that category as well to 10,000 by 2020. The future of education is the focus of a special conference here at Keene State. It's the Inspiring Conversations in Education, or ICE conference, sponsored by Kappa Delta Pi. At the conference, current education majors get to talk with faculty and alumni about their goals for becoming teachers. Faculty and alumni help by sharing their expertise and real-life examples of classroom experience. KSC education professor Dr. Daryl Huck started the ICE conference as a way for education majors to connect with professionals in their field.
I don't think about my students just as you are my student and you matter to me for the 4 or 5 years you're here at Keene State. No, you matter to me well after, because you're going to be going into schools.
The conference started 5 years ago as little more than a presentation in a small classroom. Now it's big enough to be held in the Mabel Brown Room and draws participants from across KSC's community. That's all for this edition of KSC TV. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll be back next week at the same time. We'll see you then, and have a good evening.